Now that we have got out of the way all the different errors that can be there, now it is time to understand the structure of a C program. I'm going to use the same example of the factorial program to illustrate what are the different elements of a typical C program. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a source file. Okay, so the first thing that you will find is that all your programs are organized into source files. Okay, so all the source files are given a name. So in this particular example, we could be naming this particular thing as a factorial.c. Okay, so within any C program, the first segment is generally referred to as the include files. Okay, so this include files are references to those files which contain the structure of other functions which we want to use in our program. You remember we talked about it? We won't be writing program our own code for every little thing, right? We always reuse. In order to reuse other functions written by somebody else, which are already part of the compiler, whatever it is, you have to specify the structure of those files with the help of these include files. Okay, so include files, I will get into much more detail of what the structure of the include file itself in a subsequent video. But for now, you just understand that the first portion is generally what is known as the include file. After the include file, you may have many function prototypes. Okay, function prototypes of the functions that you are using. Okay, in other words, your source, in addition to the source files, the second thing inside those source files, you organize your programs into one or more functions. So when you want to work with functions, there are two aspects to it. One is the function prototype, which says what is the name of the function? What are the parameters that are given to the function? What does it return? Right? So that is called as a function prototype. Right? So that is function prototype. Okay? So in this example, what is it that I'm saying? The name of the function that I want to use is called factorial. It takes one parameter called x, whose data type happens to be integer, and its return value is also integer. Okay? Once again, the detail of the function prototype itself, I will talk about it in detail. But for now, you understand that this whole line that you see there is called as the function prototype. Okay? Once the function prototype is written as part of the C program, immediately you will start writing your function definitions. Okay? Function definitions are nothing but the actual code for all the functions. As I told you, a C program is divided into multiple functions. So for each function, you will have to write the code. So this function is called as main, which is taking, when I'm running it, it doesn't take any parameters. We call it as void. It returns integer. So it begins with this curly brackets. It ends with this curly brackets. Okay. Hope you are able to see this, right? So every function begins with the name of the function and the parameters, followed by this left open curly braces and ends with the curly braces. So this is function number one. Once I have closed, I can have any number of functions in a single source file. In this particular file, I have another function called factorial, which is returning an integer, which takes x as a parameter, which happens to be of integer type. And then this one also begins with a curly brace and ends with a curly brace. Okay, so essentially like that, I can keep having any number of functions. The basis for breaking them down into smaller functions, how do you do that? How do you decide what constitutes a function? That is something that I will talk about it when we talk about the design of a C program. But from a structural point of view, once again, to summarize, your C program, your C application is organized into one or more source files. Within each source file, you will have the include specifications, which is talking about the functions that you want to reuse inside your current C file. It can also include additional function prototypes like the factorial prototype in line number 4. But the most significant component of your C program are the function definitions. In this example, you are seeing two function definitions called main and factorial. One other thing that I want to mention here is that you may have any number of source files. Irrespective of the number of source files, irrespective of the number of functions you have in all those source files, you have to remember that for a given application to be executed, there should be exactly one function whose name is called as main. Okay, there should be one and only one function whose name is called main, written in lowercase as MAIN. Okay, so that is something that's the most important entry point for the operating system to start executing your C program. Okay, so that is how you organize your entire C programs. So what you can expect is that in every example that we will see going forward, there will be a main program, and that main program will invoke other functions.